I love character design. Something about bringing a character to life out of nothing feels like magic. But my designs yeah, they're not good. It feels like they're just boring and uncreative. And that's when I discovered Rinotuna, who somehow manages to turn things from everyday life into these beautiful characters that are full of life, which made me wonder, if I understood this process, would that fix my boring designs? So in this video, I'll be analyzing his process step by step to see what we can learn from him, and finally apply what I learned to create my own designs. Before we get to drawing, we must first understand how he dissects his subjects. All of Rinotuna's designs are centered around the subject he's analyzing. This is all speculation on my part, but from his designs you can tell that he looks at the object in two different ways, either visually or conceptually. For the visual part, we have to break down the subject into its main elements. These elements can be separated into categories. For example, the subject's 2D or 3D shape. Is there any shape language that you can include in your design? Is it made up of round shapes or more angular shapes? If it's a more complex subject, you can try separating individual elements and breaking them down separately. A good example for including the shapes into the design is this pin character, where Rinotuna makes the shape of the armor and even the orientation of the legs exactly how the pin is shaped. And a more subtle example is this, where he keeps the silhouette of the hammerhead shark by making the character hold a skateboard across his shoulders. An equally important visual aspect we can look at is pattern. Are there any repeating patterns on the subject that we can use for the design? This is one thing where you can be really creative with how you include these patterns into your design. For example, take a look at this design, where he turns the white pattern on the peel of the melon into this beautiful weaved net over her clothes. Or this one, where he uses the pattern of the corn for the inner padding of the jacket. And then there's obviously color. You can see how he often uses the same color ratios for his designs. Like here, where the main colors are green, yellow and black, but he adds these red stripes across the design because of this slight red area on the bug. Another interesting observation is that he will try to position the colors like on the reference. Like on this design where he makes the main color of the body white, but the blue boots and dark clothes are positioned exactly like on the bird. He's also not afraid to deviate slightly for better readability. Like here, where he uses hints of blue despite the reference having none, so it's not too monotone. Other aspects that are worth mentioning are layering, like in this one, where because the reference is a multi-layered food, the character is also wearing many layers of clothing. And symmetry or asymmetry, which is best seen in this design. Let's combine all of these together and take a look at this example of the black moor goldfish. What instantly pops out are the large round eyes that are positioned weirdly on the outside of the head. Other key elements are the multi-layered fin and the repeating pattern along the fin, as well as the pattern on the scale. The colors are also a key element. The fish is mostly black, but the scales reflect light and it almost looks like gold. And as the fin gets thinner towards the end, they become this light brown-orange color. And if you look at the final design, Rinotuna finds a creative solution for all these elements to be incorporated into the design. Like how the eyes are represented by the big hair buns on the side of her head, or how the scales are turned into these gold chains that are scattered across areas of the design. After the visual analysis, we can move on to the conceptual analysis. This is a more abstract analysis of the subject, and is mainly about what the function of the subject is or what we associate it with, even if the connection isn't obvious. I think this is a really good example, where he's designing a character from a shark, which is an apex predator, so in human terms he needs to make the character that is imposing and dangerous. So he makes him some kind of mafia boss. His creativity really shines through in his weirder references, like this one with the blue screen that you get when your PC crashes, and its function is to sort out the issues your PC is having. So he turns it into a policeman that is sorting out the street traffic, and the apps are the vehicles that are blocking the way. We'll go through a couple more examples to give you some inspiration. I really like this example with the fortune cookie that he turns into a fortune teller. Or this one with the coconut crab, where due to his extremely strong claws, he turns him into a martial artist that is practicing on coconuts. Pumpkins are associated with Halloween, so this character design is a demon guy with many Halloween references. He uses the time period associated with the subject to inspire the fashion style as well, like these retro devices, where the characters are wearing some tech wear. And these butter cookies, which packaging is this royal blue and gold with some golden patterns usually associated with high class, so he turns it into a royal family. Hopefully you get the idea by now. The main point is to let your imagination go where it wants, and experiment with where that takes you. Since the steps of Rinotuna's process from here on out are fairly simple, I'll just work on my own design while I explain to you my thought process and how I'm trying to apply what I learned. For the subject, I picked this pocket watch and started deconstructing it. I created a mind map with every connection that came to mind, no matter how far-fetched it was. What helped me was going through images of different pocket watches and their unique traits, like how the gears showing on this one reminded me of a steampunk aesthetic, or how I kept seeing these ones with astrology related stuff. I honestly have no idea what these are, but they kinda look cool. So I also was thinking about what the different key elements could be on the character, like how I could turn the clock hands into a sword, which inspired me to do a knight character. After making this mind map, it's finally time to get to sketching, where we can test out the ideas on paper. Rinotuna does this by drawing these small characters. The point is to quickly get out his ideas and experiment, without being too focused on any anatomy or any other details. You should focus on the big and major shapes here, and leave the details for the later stages. Rinotuna effortlessly creates masterpieces while doing this. But for beginner designers like me and you, I cannot stress how important it is in this stage to just try out any of the concepts that come to mind. You should go wild, regardless of how bad your ideas may be. The entire point of this stage is to experiment and see what sticks. Do as many as you can. This is a really good place to practice. A lot of the sketches will look horrible, but you should just keep trying out different things, and slowly but surely you'll start having a good idea of what's working and what isn't. Even if you like some of your designs, I think it's a good idea to challenge yourself to keep going and squeezing every ounce of idea in your head onto the canvas, and iterate even on the designs you like. Try changing something small and see if you like it more or less. I think I made too few sketches. I definitely still had a lot of ideas in me, but I wanted to get this video done, so I went with this sketch. My idea was that she was some kind of fortune teller related to the astrology watches I had mentioned earlier, and I liked a lot of the shape language I had for her, like the round accessories all over the design, and the arrow-shaped cloth that's supposed to represent the clock hand. But as I did a clean line art pass, it was time to add details, and I think this is where I messed up a little. I was so excited to add all the elements of the pocket watch into the design and kept adding all different kinds of details, and the design ended up being way too cluttered and over-designed, and lost its identity. This became especially clear when I tried adding colors, and the design kind of fell apart. I didn't know what I was looking at anymore, so instead of trying to fix it, and in the spirit of trying different stuff, I went back and tried sketching a couple more ideas, making a more simple and clear design, focusing on just one element and making the others more subtle. So I made this butler character, with the more elegant aspect of the pocket watch, while I tried to make the main point of attention the chains of the clock. So I made them these stripes on his lower body. I think in hindsight it wasn't the most creative idea, but I believe I fulfilled the goal of making the design less cluttered. So I did a clean line art pass without adding many details, and then added some color and did a quick render pass, and this was the final result. It's obviously nothing as creative as Rinotuna, but it's not too bad. Even the first design had its own charm, and all in all I'm really happy with the outcome. The one thing I realized is how much I actually enjoyed the design process. I had so much fun experimenting and trying out different ideas, and even asking my family and friends for suggestions. It was incredibly fun, and I'm definitely going to make this more of a habit and hopefully slowly improve with time. I'm still very much a beginner designer and I have a lot to learn, but concept art is definitely an area I love and I want to get better at. So hopefully I'll be learning more about design and sharing it with you in the future. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed this video. If you'd like to support me, consider liking and subscribing. And if you like my art, you can follow me on Instagram. Other than that, I appreciate you for staying until the end, and I wish you a peaceful rest of the day. Take care.